The courtroom held its breath as the judge raised the gavel, the polished wood gleaming under the harsh fluorescent lights. With a single, resounding crack, the sound sliced through the heavy air like a bullet. The state of New York hereby sentences Officer Laura Monroe to death by lethal injection. A stunned gasp rippled across the crowded room. Reporters froze, pens hovering above notepads. Family members clutched one another. Laura Monroe, once a shining star in the K-9 unit, stood rigidly in the defendant's box, her hands trembling as her eyes stared ahead, hollow and disbelieving. A uniformed officer to her right subtly inched closer, hand near his holstered weapon, in case she broke. But Laura made no move, her body paralyzed between pride and despair. Then, a sound shattered the silence. A deep, guttural growl rolled from the back of the room. Heads whipped around. In the aisle, a lone figure stood, hackles raised, muscles taut. It was Titan Lara's German shepherd, his teeth bared in a snarl, saliva dripping from his maw, his amber eyes burning with a ferocity that chilled every soul present. The bailiffs reached instinctively for their sidearms. Titan lunged. Chaos erupted. But how did it ever come to this? How did the city's beloved officer, decorated with commendations and once the face of integrity, become a pariah awaiting death? How did the loyal K-9 partner sworn to protect turn predator against the very system they once served? 3 months earlier, Laura Monroe had been a hero. Fearless, uncompromising. She and Titan patrolled the toughest streets with seamless precision, their bond forged through 100 dangerous nights. To Laura, justice wasn't a slogan. It was sacred. And then she found the files. A routine inspection at headquarters had led her to a forgotten server tucked deep within the evidence room. There, buried under layers of encryption, was damning evidence photos, wiretaps, financial trails proving that police chief Brandon Holloway, the man who had once pinned her badge to her chest, was dirty. He wasn't just taking bribes. He was orchestrating them. Human trafficking, narcotics, weapons sales. The evidence was overwhelming. Laura should have walked away, buried it, pretended she never saw. But Laura Monroe had a single, ironclad rule. No Nino one stood above the law. That night, in a deserted parking garage, she dialed internal affairs. She used a burner phone. She spoke cautiously, gave no names. The next morning, everything unraveled. Her apartment was raided. Officers she once trusted yanked her out of bed at dawn. They said she was dirty, said she'd framed innocent men, planted drugs, and worse, that she had murdered a confidential informant with a bullet to the chest. Titan barked furiously as they wrestled her into handcuffs. His nails scrabbled on the hardwood floor, his eyes wild with panic. "Run!" Laura had screamed. Titan obeyed. He bolted into the pre-dawn mist, disappearing into the city's endless sprawl. Behind bars, Laura fought. Her court-appointed attorney, a man who refused to meet her gaze, was a puppet. Witnesses who could clear her name vanished or changed their testimony. Evidence was doctored. The trial was a farce. Meanwhile, Titan became a ghost. Security footage from around the courthouse caught fleeting glimpses, a shadow slipping through alleys, a dark shape lurking outside judges' chambers. Guards muttered about a devil dog slipping past security checkpoints. Then, the first death. Detective Mason Clark, the man whose testimony had sealed Lara's fate, was found dead in his home. Mauled, his body torn and battered beyond recognition. Scrawled on the wall in his own blood was a single word: liar. The media went wild. The police doubled their patrols. Lara was placed under 24-hour watch. Still, the attacks continued. A corrupt prosecutor fell next, found dead in her garage. Her last voicemail, a panicked whisper about a dog with hell in its eyes. Whispers spread. Some said Lara had trained Titan for vengeance. Others said she was controlling him from her cell, some kind of dark sorcery. The day her execution was set, Lara sat on her bunk, staring at the cracked concrete wall, a hollow shell of who she once was. A sympathetic guard, young and new to the prison, hesitated outside her cell. "Is there anything you want?" he asked quietly. Her voice was a rasp. "Tell Titan, it's over." That night, the guard's body was found slumped in a stairwell, his throat torn open. Clutched in his cold fingers was a brass key to Lara's cell. On the eve of her execution, Lara wept. She had thought she had fought for justice, but she had created a monster. Titan had become no better than the men who framed her. Then, a scratching at her door. Barely daring to hope, Lara crawled to the cell bars. Titan, bloodied but alive, knows something through the GAPA USB drive smeared with dirt and blood. Her hand shook as she grasped it. Hope flickered inside her. The sun rose. The execution team prepped the chamber. Lara was strapped to the gurney, the needle inches from her vein. Then gunfire. Titan crashed through the security doors, a beast unleashed. Guard shouted. Shots rang out. Blood stained the sterile floors. Titan lunged at the officers with a fury born of betrayal. In the chaos, Lara broke free. She lunged for the warden's desk, grabbed the prison-issued phone, and jammed the USB into the port. The screen above the visitor center flickered. Audio played recordings of Chief Holloway's voice. "Kill her. Make it look like an accident." The room fell silent. Faces paled. Officers lowered their weapons. Outside, the signal spread. Phones buzzed across the city. News outlets picked up the broadcast. The entire city watched as their revered chief was exposed for the fraud he was. Within hours, Holloway was arrested, dragged from his mansion in handcuffs as cameras rolled. Lara stood free, her orange jumpsuit torn and bloodstained, but her back straight, her spirit unbroken. Titan, wounded but alive, limped to her side. He pressed his bloodied head against her hip, whimpering softly. She knelt, cradling his great head in her hands, tears streaming down her face. "You were always the best partner I ever had," she whispered. Reporters swarmed. Cameras flashed. But for a moment, it was just Lara and Titan, two souls broken and reborn through fire. Justice had a new name now, and it had fangs. Lara never returned to the police force. She had seen too much, lost too much. Instead, she founded a new agency independent watchdog group dedicated to uncovering corruption wherever it hid. Titan, officially pardoned by the governor, became the agency's mascot, his fierce image a symbol of unwavering loyalty. Together, they traveled the country, speaking in front of crowds, training K-9 units, investigating dark corners most dared not enter. But every so often, Lara would catch Titan staring into the distance, ears pricked, body tense if remembering the battles fought, the blood spilled. And she would whisper, only for him. "We survived. We fought. And we won." In the annals of justice, their story became legend not of vengeance, but of loyalty, sacrifice, and a truth stronger than any badge or uniform. Because sometimes, to tear down a rotten system, you need more than evidence. You need heart, and sometimes you need teeth.